The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, starting at verse 1, and it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Verse 3, Therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam like Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kodesh Baruch. Say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and have freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aquat out there listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is an edifying lesson. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you I say shalom. So, brother, y'all, what's up out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, and I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And basically, this lesson is in regards to an article I came across watching something. But, you know, there's a lot going on. We're living in very prophetic times. You know, scriptures talk about how the end times will be. We know we're at the end because we measure the times based on the scriptures. The scriptures are the measuring tool, so we line up what's going on in the world with what's written in the scriptures, and that's how we know where we're at. You know, we can't. No man can tell you the exact time or day or whatever, but you know, we pretty much know we're in the end times. You know, truthfully, or truth be told, we've been in the end times since Yahushua basically, you know, was crucified, you know, and then risen to sit at the right hand of Abanawa Yahweh, you know. So for 2,000 years, pretty much we've been in the end times. But, you know, certain things taking place in the world, you know, that's what, you know, as far as uproars, you know, protests, and, you know, people are unhappy, you know, for a multitude of reasons. You know, you got wars and rumors of wars. I'm going to read that, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must not see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So, you know, the end is not exactly here because it's other prophecies that got to play out. You know, the main one, that C-HIP, or that MOTB, you know. And the thing is, it's spiritual because the brother posted something about I remember it was on Redacted. They were asking individuals, well, you know, I don't know those hosts' name. I think the man and the woman are married, but they were saying how he read an article saying, would you consider putting a, you know, C-HIP in your body if you was to get basically UBI $2,000 a month? And a lot of people are going to succumb to that because things are going to get so drastic and so hard and just so, you know, hopeless for those that don't have any hope or faith in anything but, you know, these fucking devils and themselves, that, you know, a lot of people are going to feel that's what they're going to have to do. You know, it's all by design because ultimately this is, you know, the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, not Esau Edom's. But you're seeing wars, you know, because you got multiple wars going on right this moment. And then you got rumors of wars because they're talking about bills that America is passing to basically start wars with other countries as well. Hezbollah and Iran, I hear. So, you know, we damn near here, you know, and things, you know, brother was just talking about how you had the robotic dogs that they're talking about putting, you know, the rifles on backs, which you should have saw that coming. They've been showing these videos, you know. I remember they had the video in Hawaii where they had, you know, in the homeless shelters that each morning you had to go get scanned by the robotic dog. Just check your temperature. Like off of some TV movie type of also Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator shit. These people ain't gonna realize until, you know, this shit right in their face. And then what? They're gonna die a horrible death. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, which you see, and kingdom against kingdom. It's going to be division, and people going to be against one another. I just read that, what you're seeing right now. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So yeah, that's the time we're in. So this reads, thousands of protesters gathered in D.C. to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, I don't watch mainstream media. I get my information from, these so-called, I ain't gonna say so-called truthers, different, the alternative media. And from, Akim, because, the Lord put it on brother spirits to go really research. You got to remember, a lot of the news on mainstream media is propaganda. We were bringing that out at the last camp. Brother was going into, which I always knew about the book by Bernays, propaganda, and I knew who he was related to, but I never knew that based on the technique of propaganda, that's how they, sold the lie of those people being, those 48ers being the people of the Most High. It says 9 groups organized a protest that brought people from at least 22 states. And look at that. And that's just based on a war. That they know that these people, like a lot of these true-blooded red, blue, and white Americans is going to end up, and they ain't trying to go to no war, but that's about these people talking about, they drafting, talking about war. Somebody got boots on the ground. They talking about, this shit gonna be funny. It says thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters came together Saturday to call for a ceasefire and an end to the siege on the Gaza Strip at a march in Washington, D.C.'s Freedom Plaza. The protest was organized by 9 groups and had participation from over 500 groups from around the country, according to organizers. Now, I'm not for sure how many individuals that is, but if I was to play that, look at that. That fills the complete streets. So just imagine, like the elder brother Mwatazak from L.A. did a video about bank runs, and he showed all these different clips and movies about bank runs. Because, I've never seen a bank run in my time, but I can only imagine, can you, everybody lined up, oh, that's going to be a hell of a sight. You know what I'm saying? And people going to want blood. Just imagine when it's going to look like that when people trying to get their money. Photos of the peaceful march, which called for a ceasefire and the end to Israeli government's siege on Gaza that started in retaliation of Hamas's surprise terror attack on Israel on October 7th, showed thousands gathered in the streets of D.C. following a rally. The protesters marched to the White House. According to ANSWER, 300,000 people showed up to the protest. So, and as you can see, that pretty much it's like the now I've been out, if you ever I ain't gonna say participated, like when I was a nigga in the world, yeah, of course you didn't understand, but you just going with what you seeing, St. Patrick's Day. But now that we, are educated to the fact of what that is, that pagan, ritual, which is a pagan ritual for real, because it's a day of debauchery, Valentine's Day or Bacchus, the Roman equivalent of it. But at the end of the day, a day when you get drunk and just do all kind of immoral sexual shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, I've seen the streets fill up in Cleveland with that, but never to the extent over something like this. And again, just imagine when they do these bank runs. And, the elder Uriah from Chicago that just did a video recently about how they're trying to cover up the collapse of the dollar. But in actuality, it's showing you how slow the people are because, you got these banks failing, and people still can't see it. You got banks right now, and it's over 1 million people been affected by they haven't received their direct deposits. Because the banking industry is pretty much it. Again, they're trying to transition to a newer system, and it looks very likely that they gonna set it up to be, this system crashes, and then we can go ahead and help you out by you transferring or being implement it into this new system, this blockchain system, and you take this device. Other groups leading the organization of the protests were Palestinian youth movements, and like I said, I don't really care about the war. At the end of the day, I'm sure it's Israelites over there. If the Lord's gonna be with them, He's gonna be with them. But at the end of the day, you got two different manner of people in our land that's fighting over our land. Again, if you have any kind of spirituality about yourself and you understand these scriptures, because our elders are our elders, our beloved elder apostles, first and foremost, have broken down the scriptures to us correctly, so we understand what's going on. But the purpose of this video is just to show that. Look at this. It says transportation from 22 states, including Texas, Florida, and Kentucky, and Puerto Rico. Like I said, again, that's just based on the war. But just imagine when this money fell, you know what I mean? Genesis 47:15, these people are going to go ape shit. And it's going to be probably more than 300,000 people. You got 1 million people right now that was just affected by these different, and these major banks. These ain't no little, like, your neighborhood, credit union bank. These major banks like Chase, I think U.S. Bank was one of them. It's multiple. So with that being said, I'm gonna skip to this second Ezra chapter 15. And I'm gonna start at verse 14, and it reads, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." And we haven't seen that on a large scale exactly right now, but that's coming. It show you how simple these people is too. This administration allowed an open borders policy, and then you got these people. They basically said the sleeper cells in here. Y'all can't see that this shit dead. Brothers was just putting in the group chat about how this shit over with. Brother showed some all white ketchup. He said they try to use Vaseline to put on your French fries. The brothers got to try to find some, some comedy out of the situation because we in hell. But at the same time, like these motherfuckers just trying shit. You gonna have some Edomite probably get that shit. Like, what the fuck would you? That's probably all. It ain't probably. That's all GMO. I ain't even using tomatoes no more. What the fuck is that? Salakia for the digression. It says, one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, and the modern day sword is the pistol. But they got even more advanced things than those. Again, I just made mention of a robotic dog that they're gonna put a rifle on. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you're gonna have uproars, insurrections, and sedition. People rebelling against this government. And this is just basically on they don't agree with the policy that the government is pushing. All this aid being sent to, well, this is really just about those Israelis and Palestinians over there fighting. So they had a peaceful protest. But what happens when they try to force these Americans to go over there and fight? They're not even agreeing with. So just imagine when they find out, or when they really start protesting the fact that America is aiding and sending all this aid to these different countries, while this country is and the citizens here are starving, are fucked up, impoverished. Oh, it's not gonna sit well with a lot of people, and that's when they're gonna bring out those draconian measures. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2, and it reads, "And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." And usually in the scriptures, when you read neighbor, it's your brother. And who's the modern day Egyptian? This red Hebrew Edomite. He practices a lot of this devil's customs. You know what I mean? When you go into knowing how this modern day Egypt, like look at Tennessee. When you go look at a lot of the names of the cities in Tennessee, they're named after ancient Egypt. I think it's a Egypt, Tennessee. I know it's a Memphis, Tennessee. You know, so and the spirit of Egypt shall Salaki, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. I'm gonna end it right there because, you know, at the end of the day, it says, and Egyptians will I give over into the hand of cruel Lord, which is going into Yahweh Shai. Because at the end of the day, the Most High said He gonna bring division. You know, this is the book of Matthew chapter 10, start at verse 34, and it reads, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." Now these are the words of who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Now, if I had a red letter, which I don't feel like going to get, you know, you would see it. So these, while they're talking about that, you know, who you ignorantly call Jesus is all love. You know, He said, I ain't come to send peace, but a sword. You know, He coming for with war, because the scriptures tell you it's a time for war and a time for peace. And we are obviously not in the time of peace because there's too many wars breaking out. I mean, believe it or not, America's already involved in the fucking war when they sent that big ass battleship out there to go aid those fake ass Israelis. Verse 35, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So He's going to bring division, you know. Scriptures talk about a man's foes will be of his own household. And you've seen that to a degree when they, you know, introduced that jab. But just imagine how much more so when shit get way more, you know, dire and serious. You know, you got to understand the mentality of Americans, you know what I mean? You know, and I always think back to, you know, this culture of how you realize how this place operates through that board game Monopoly. You know, and a fun fact, if you wasn't aware, if you go into Hasbro Brothers, you know, that company originally was either a Ouija board company or they started from purchasing a Ouija board company. So in actuality, you know, that shit is all like witchcraft for real, you know. Which make a lot of sense when you take time to think about it because it's modeled after life. So this whole American, you know, mentality and the whole American dream is to just chase and get as much money you can get. But it's paper money, you know. And a lot of people that put their whole life and soul into that don't feel very stupid, you know what I mean? Like you got a lot of people that just gave their whole existence to these companies that's going belly up. People that's thinking that they then stash something away, or the government talking about pensions and, you know, Social Security. That shit ain't about to be here. don't you realize? You know, a train just blew the horn. The cock crew. Yeah, man, but you know, wait and see. That's pretty much it. You know, because the Lord come to judge this place. You know, the scriptures talk about judgment, and you know, rightfully so. You know what I mean? Scriptures talk about how we wait on the Lord's judgments. You know, but you know, this place is a wicked ass place, and it's got to be cleansed of the wickedness. You know what I mean? For righteousness to dwell on the planet. You know, this place is pure wickedness. So that's when you're gonna have a heaven on earth, when this place is governed in pure righteousness. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 21. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai power, how much more when I send my four sword judgments upon Jerusalem. Now that's going into, they're going to judge Jerusalem, which basically is the day of Jacob's trouble, you know. The sword and the famine and the noisome beast and the pestilence to cut off from it man and beast. You know, so the Lord going to use, you know, the modern day sword. He going to use the famine. He going to use animals. We were speaking on this a couple of weeks ago. He's going to use pestilences, these diseases, you know. All these things are meant for judgment, you know. I think in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, it talks about that as well, you know. Or something similar to that. I might be mixing it up, Salakia. But, you know, yes, it talks about for Jerusalem because it's for the day of Jacob's trouble. But the thing is, Jacob's trouble is going to affect the whole world. You know what I mean? That's how important Jacob is, to the Most High's movie. Because what the Lord is going to send to judge Jacob is going to literally affect the whole world as well. So the Lord coming to judge the earth, but those that are his chosen, his elect, they're going to be protected. And there's enough scriptures that talk about that. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 34. It talks about in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, the Lord's name is a strong tower. The Lord's name is a strong tower, and the righteous run up to it. The scriptures talk about he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. What is the secret place? This truth, these scriptures. And the Lord is going to protect his chosen ones by many means. He may hide them. He might endow them with spiritual gifts, or he may send angels to protect them. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 34 and verse 7. The angel of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. So, we had a lot of judgment and, death coming to this place. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and to the commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rachak. I want to honor to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, for whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. So next time I'm able to come with another lesson, say shalom, shalom, shalom.